So in this video, I'm going to take a look at the recent developments concerning the case of missing mother of two Nicola Bulley and two eyewitnesses who have come forward recently to describe a suspicious looking red van seen in the area on the morning of her disappearance. Firstly, we're going to take a look at two newspaper articles which describes what these eyewitnesses saw, and then I'm going to be sharing with you my own thoughts and opinions on how important I believe these eyewitness accounts to be. Fresh lead emerges as police told of red van seen on day dog walker went missing. At least two witnesses have reported seeing a red van on the morning the mum vanished. Police may be searching for a tatty red van after a local resident noticed the vehicle parked in the village on the morning Nicola Bulley went missing. The 55-year-old witness, who has not been named, said they saw, quote, a tatty red van in Hall Lane outside a barn. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but when I saw Nicola had gone missing, I called 101 and spoke to an operator, he told The Times. The witness said they contacted the police again and said the van could have been a Renault, adding it was, quote, the sort of van you can live in. A second witness told The Sun that they had reported seeing a red van which, quote, looked suspicious at around 9:40 a.m. on the day Miss Bulley disappeared. The man called the police 3 days after the mum of two went missing and was asked if he had any dashcam footage of the vehicle. It comes as the search has now reached the mouth of the river near Fleetwood, with police looking at the western coast and into the Irish Sea and Morecambe Bay. Okay, there also appears to be a follow-up article here with a little bit more detail, which I'll read out to you now. It has the title, Key Clue. Nicola Bulley cops are hunting shabby red van. I saw suspicious vehicle close to where she vanished, says key witness. The search for Nicola Bulley moved to the sea yesterday, amid the possibility she was swept 20 miles downriver. Officers scoured Morecambe Bay as it emerged she was last spotted nearly 2 hours before police were called. Police are probing reports of a shabby and suspicious red van near where Nicola Bulley disappeared. The vehicle was spotted close to the mum's walking route on the morning she went missing. It was seen parked in a lane a few hundred yards from the school where Nicola, 45, had dropped off her young children. A man in his 50s described the van as a high-sided Renault or Transit in faded red. The witness said, quote, it was a shabby-looking van, an older model, the kind you can live or work in. It was on a quiet lane near a barn with a couple of houses dotted around. Obviously, I don't know whether this van is related to Nicola's disappearance. All I know is that something grabbed my attention. I felt compelled to tell police about it. Even though it was down the road, as the crow flies, it's quite close to where Nicola was last seen. The newspaper understands a second witness also contacted police to report seeing the van in the area. Nicola disappeared while walking her dog beside the River Wyre in St Michael's on Wyre, Lancashire. The van witness, who lives locally and had been travelling to a cake shop, coincidentally works in search and rescue, but in the south of England. He said, quote, I saw a red van parked along Hall Lane at around 9:40 a.m. It looked suspicious, but in that moment it didn't mean anything. The man, who asked not to be named, called the cops 3 days later after the timetable of events surrounding Nicola's disappearance was revealed. He added, quote, after a good think, the red van really stood out. I thought it might be significant. Initially I called 101, but I wasn't overly impressed with the operator. I followed up with the police and spoke to an officer who took all the details down and said my call was being logged. I've spoken to the police a couple of times now. They called me on Wednesday to follow up. The call really allayed my fears that my sighting wouldn't be considered properly. They are obviously following up on everything. Lancashire police said they had no comment to make regarding the suspicious red van. Detectives are continuing to work on the theory that Nicola fell into the Wyre in a tragic accident. And yesterday they were investigating the possibility that she had been carried downstream by the tide towards the Irish Sea. Two boats with specialist police teams were seen searching the water and shoreline at Morecambe Bay and Knott's End. Police have confirmed they first received a call about Nicola's disappearance at 11 a.m. The last confirmed sighting of the mortgage advisor was at 9:10. This time frame leaves a larger window for Nicola to have vanished before police search teams began to look for her. Yesterday, it emerged Nicola had said the spot where she vanished was her favourite place to walk. Okay, so what is my own opinion on this recent development concerning the two eyewitnesses describing a suspicious looking red van? Now, the first thing that I've done after reading these eyewitness accounts is bring up the map, take a look at where Hall Lane is in relation to where Nicola Bulley was last seen and where her mobile phone and her dog harness were found near the bench. Now, you can see here that it does appear that Hall Lane is actually the other side of the River Wyre. So, I mean, is it really feasible to suggest that Nicola was taken across the river in order to access Hall Lane? Or was she walked along the main road, which seems even more unlikely? And also the timeline here, 9:40 AM. To me, it's not matching up. This vehicle is parked too far away, I believe, to have any real direct involvement in Nicola Bulley's disappearance. What also drew my attention was this following building here and a vehicle which appears to be parked in the back or towards the back of those buildings. Now, this to me looks like a farm. I don't know about anybody else, but this to me looks like a farm. And I wonder if this is where these eyewitness accounts actually took place. This would be roughly, as the crow flies, from where Nicola disappeared. So that does match up with the newspaper article and what is described by the eyewitness. And it does match what we're looking for here, a faded red, larger style vehicle. I've got some photographs here of what may have been described by the eyewitnesses, a older style Renault van and an older style Ford Transit, both in red. And as you can see here in this photograph, there does appear to be a vehicle which would have been, when this photograph was taken, away from the public eye. Could it just be that this vehicle was parked out towards the road on the morning of her disappearance, hence drawing the eyes of passers-by? What I do find quite interesting, however, is the fact that this vehicle has clearly caught the eye of at least one individual. It's not as though one person has just seen this suspicious looking vehicle and called the police. It's clearly caught the eye of at least one individual. And at this point in time, we don't know if there are further eyewitness accounts or further people who have called into the police mentioning the same vehicle. We don't know at this point in time whether this particular vehicle has any link whatsoever with the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. So to summarise, I find it hard to believe that this vehicle played some sort of part in the disappearance of Nicola Bulley for the following reasons. One, the location itself, where this vehicle was seen by the eyewitnesses. It does seem to be the other side of the River Wyre. It does seem to be quite some distance from where Nicola's harness and Nicola's phone and the last sighting of Nicola actually took place. Also, it appears that this vehicle was stationary. The eyewitnesses haven't described this vehicle as driving slowly past a certain road or looking as if they were lost. It appears that these eyewitnesses are viewing a vehicle that is parked up and stationary, may not even be occupied at the time. Combine that with the fact that we're looking at a 9:40 AM time period here and how that relates to the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. I just don't see this van playing some sort of pivotal role in her disappearance. And lastly, the vehicle which you can see in front of you here. Is that the vehicle that is witnessed by these individuals on that morning? Was this vehicle parked out on the roadside, parked in front of the barn on that morning? I can't say for certain that this is the vehicle that is described by the eyewitnesses, but it is quite interesting that this property is, as the crow flies, from where Nicola's location was last reported, and it is a faded red large type vehicle. Anyway, do leave your own thoughts and theories in the comments section below. I'll be sure to check them out. And as always, many thanks for joining me for this particular video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this content and subscribe to the channel down below. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.